Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Max. Thanks for joining. I'm your host, and this is mine. This is mine. By the way, this is roasted by Jake. Check them out. Super good coffee. Link is in the description. Today I wanted to talk about getting prepped for a gig. And I think I have some good background on this. I've prepped for every kind of gig you can imagine. I've done all-state orchestra with full orchestra. I've done Boulder Symphony. I've done prog rock shows. I've done shows with charts, big band charts, jazz charts. I've done shows out of the real book. I've done reggae shows, rock shows, funk shows, shows with no practice, shows with too many practices. I've done a lot of different kinds, and so I thought it would be valuable for you to talk about how I prep for these different gigs. And by the way, if you're watching these videos, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, comment, anything to help as I start to grow my channel. I really appreciate it. So let's talk about the gig that I play the most, which is band calls you up. They say, hey, our drummer can't make it for X date. We need you to learn 30 songs. Oh, and it's tomorrow. So, first things first, a lot of people don't think about this. First things first, ask them for the songs and ask them for the artists too. I don't care if it's the most obvious song in the world. I can't tell you how many times I've learned the wrong song because whoever's putting together the band didn't put the artist name there. For example, Easy Like Sunday Morning. You know that song? Easy like Sunday morning. And Sunday by Maroon 5. This one time, somebody just put Sunday. So I learned both of them. I'm like, I'm smarter than this. I'm going to learn both. And it turned out to be neither of those. And it was his original version of Sunday, which was kind of the Maroon 5 version, but in 6/8. And so it was just out of luck. So always get the title and the artist of all the songs that you're learning and try to get recordings of them, always. So what I like to do first is just listen to all the songs, and if you can, try and listen before bed. Your brain does this kind of cool thing. If you do something right before you go to sleep, it, I think, prioritizes that and helps you learn that while you're sleeping subconsciously. And I use this trick all the time. It's super helpful for memorizing stuff, and it's super helpful for learning sets. So listen to the whole set, get your song titles, and I would really recommend finding a way to chart for yourself. It's one thing to download charts on the internet, but those aren't always accurate. There might be different versions, stuff like that. But if you can come up with a shorthand charting that you know really well, that you can bang out in a couple minutes for each song, like while you're listening to the song, that I would always recommend. So practice, listen to a bunch of the wedding band circuit songs or cover band circuit songs, any of the classic songs, classic covers, and practice sitting down and just charting them out on your instrument. If you play bass, obviously play bass with you, or play keys next to you, and just get the root motion so that you can get those chords down, but as quickly as possible. So charting always helps. As for gigs let's say you have a gig that has no music, what you'll have to do is find versions online, listen to them, and try and figure out what kind of style the band that you're playing with is going to be doing them like. And you're going to have to be doing this a lot on the fly, right? So if you have the chords and you know the song and you know the progression, you know the melody, you'll have to kind of jump in on whatever style it happens to be at the gig. However they count it off, you just have to hold tight. Another thing, if you're like me, you can't remember song titles just because every song title is girl or love or you or everything. So what I do, I went to music school and we learned solfege. If you don't know what solfege is, just go listen to Do a Deer. That's solfege. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's your major scale. Basically what I'll do is next to the song title, I'll write in solfege and in the rhythm that the melody is, I'll write kind of as much as I can of the theme of the song so that when I see it, it sparks that in my memory and I know what song it is. Also, if you can write down the beats per minute, super helpful. But that has saved my butt, especially playing ska tunes or a bunch of music that it's different songs, but they all sound kind of similar. It's the same feel for the drums. Knowing which song is which is so helpful. And also, if you've listened to the song, you'd be surprised how much of it you know, listening to it a couple times. So if you can get that first bit down, memorized, then usually your brain will just kind of store the B section or the rest of the song somewhere in your head and apply when necessary. And that's super helpful. Obviously, thank you, brain. So we have cover band gigs, we have gigs that might be covers without any music, and then for drums, the gigs I get a lot of times are just show up and play, and we'll work it out as we go, because drummers are lucky. We don't have to worry about chords too much. We just have to kind of play a basic groove and hold it and try and catch the hits. So in that kind of scenario, and you could do this for bass too, you know, somebody plays the chords one time through and then you catch on, or you have to be ready for people to just call out chords. You know, oh, A section is C minor 7, F7, B, flat 9, and then the B section we're going to just hold on at F7 and go to G minor 7 for 2B, you know. They call it out, you have to be ready to memorize short term so you can play it. But a lot of times for drums, I get the gig where it's show up and play and we'll figure it out as we go. And usually what I'm prepared for those gigs is the singer turning around and going, okay, so it's kind of, and you have to be able to jump in right there. You get your pulse and your groove and you start playing. Other scenarios would be you get a couple of practices, and let's say that the singer really likes their songs at a specific tempo. Try and find that groove, either listening online or listening in practice. Always write down your tempo, your beats per minute. And I'll do a video on this, but I would definitely recommend getting a cue song for each of these different tempos that are so common to play. So, for example, Superstition, that's 103 beats per minute, so call it 100. Billie Jean is 120. Viva La Vida by Coldplay is 140. And just having these cue songs in your head so that when somebody calls something that's 130, you can think, oh, it's Viva La Vida. You get that song stuck in your head. And then slow it down just about 10 beats. Or have a cue song for 130. Alright, so other than that, so it's just normal preparation stuff, right? Come to the test prepared. And my goal when I'm getting ready for a gig is to figure out what's most important. If you're playing with a band for the first time, there's bound to be mistakes. So try not to focus on just the teeny tiny details, like, oh my god, there's these 2 stops in this song. I need to write down every single measure so I know exactly where these 2 stops are. Don't write it down like that. Try to get the overall song right. Make sure you're listening to the feel of the song. If you're a drummer or rhythm section player, bass or guitar, keys even, make sure you're getting the feel right. It's okay if you play a different part slightly, as long as the general feel is there. And if it's an iconic part of your instrument, then you need to nail that, especially if you're doing like wedding band circuit. Okay, so let's recap. I know that was a lot. So first things first, listen to all the songs, understand your set list, understand the styles of each of the songs. If there's specific tempos that should be played, make sure you write those down. If you can, I always recommend that Solfege Method, which is writing down just a couple of notes of the theme or the melody of the song so it sparks something in your brain. Focus on everything. Don't focus on just the tiny little details, and try to find a way to chart for yourself that you understand. Something really easy, you can bang out the whole song and you know generally how to play the whole thing. If there's chords, if you need to know the chords, as a bass player or a keyboardist or a guitar player, don't write out every single chord for every measure. Try to write out the A section, the B section, and then just write your form at the bottom. Shorthand, because you're going to have to do thousands of these things, and you might have to do 30 of them by tomorrow. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching another episode of Coffee with Max. Like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that as I'm building my channel, and thank you so much. Have a great day.